Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a completely impromptu, topical discussion. This is not something that happens very often. We've done two of these so far, and both of them were very kind of grand scale, big deal. Let's really get down to business and address big issues in the WWE and the wrestling business as a whole. This is a much more confined topical video because at a house show tonight, literally a house show, it was NXT in Lowell. I'm not even sure what state Lowell is in. Samoa Joe defeated Finn Balor for the NXT championship.
Yeah, huge news coming from this house show. And I'll tell you, this changes everything. I mean, the implications of this to me are seismic because we were just discussing, guys, for those of you that saw our NXT review, first and foremost, thank you. And second of all, you guys know that we were talking about kind of our frustration and kind of our perplexity a little bit with the whole NXT championship landscape. You know, you have Shinsuke that's a part of the NXT roster now, but I mean, Ashton's been very vocal. He doesn't expect Shinsuke to be there long, and Finn's been champion over 9 months, and Joe readily handled Apollo Crews, but he's already had 2 prior NXT championship matches, so what were they going to do? Well, it turns out what their plan all along, or at least so it seems, was third time was going to be the charm for Samoa Joe. I mean, so Ashton, I guess first and foremost, to get a baseline going for discussion, how do you feel about this title change?
I am so psyched about this, but I'm also, in hindsight, incredibly disappointed and perplexed.
Yeah, you know, I really felt like Finn, like the end of his championship reign would be a bigger production than what it was.
I feel like there is one reason and one reason only that you can justify this decision. You ready for this?
Yes.
Protect the demon.
Exactly.
That's it. That's the only way to justify this, because if protecting the demon was even slightly less of a priority, Joe would have already beaten Finn Balor at either London or Brooklyn. Or not Brooklyn, London or Dallas.
I completely agree. And, you know, you did make note to me because we first broke, or you first broke this news, I should say, in our Smackdown review, which kind of inspired this commentary, that he beat just regular Balor. Like, he did not wear the body paint in this match. So, yeah, the demon was totally protected. And that makes you wonder, too, like, if there is going to be a rematch between these two guys and they make the rematch more of a production, you know, you have to imagine that the rematch is going to be Demon Balor. Are they going to give Joe that as well? I mean, so a lot of questions here.
Oh, and by the way, I did notice you said third time's the charm, but this, yeah, this was actually the 8th time that Finn Balor and Samoa Joe have faced off if we're including house shows, which we have to because he beat him in a house show.
That is true. Yeah, that's an excellent point.
Yeah, this was their 8th singles match for the NXT title, and Joe lost every single one up until this point.
Well, you got to give the guy credit. He never stopped plugging away, did he?
No, clearly.
But finally got the job done. I mean, I'm looking at images right now of him with the NXT title. Certainly looks good with him. But now, you know, now that
I actually saw a GIF of him winning the match, and he just won it with a muscle buster.
Yeah.
Which is odd to me because it seems like, I mean, don't get me wrong, that's a devastating move, but it also seems like they've more built up the Coquina Clutch as the move that he would use to beat Finn.
Yeah, and even though I know, like, Finn's not wearing the body paint or anything, you're talking about a guy that's been NXT champion for, again, over 9 months.
But, I mean, it's also, I do think that you have to take the demon into account because the demon is the one that has faced all of the major opponents so far.
Right.
You know, like, the demon is the one that faced Joe both times. The demon is the one that faced Kevin Owens both times. And those are Balor's only 4 major opponents so far. He beat Owens for the title on the 4th of July. He retained against Owens in the ladder match at Brooklyn. He didn't have to defend his title at Respect. He beat Joe twice in a row at London and Dallas, and that's it. Those have been the only live specials that Finn Balor has been in the NXT World Title picture so far, and he was the demon for all of them.
Right. And now here we see a title change has occurred. And again, that prompts the question for me, depending on how they handle Finn's rematch Is he going to come to the fight as the Demon? And if so, does that change the landscape? Because here I am thinking, oh, well, now Joe is ready to have his run. And the thing is, I mean, normally given NXT president, that's usually what happens. But I'm wondering, are they going to give Joe the distinction of beating Demon Balor as well to really kind of perpetuate his title reign into like that stratosphere? Or, is Finn going to regain it? I mean, we never really had anybody be a two-time NXT champion. Again, it's unheard of. Usually when a champion drops the belt, that's kind of their graduation, and then they move on to the main roster.
And yeah, that was another thing too. From what I understand, there was kind of a weird injury work where the referee threw up the X and they tried to make it seem like Balor was injured. But then after that fuss was all done and over with, Balor stood up and took a bow to the crowd.
Okay.
So like that tells me he's done in NXT and this is his call up. He might even be on Raw on Monday.
He might be. I mean, we're going to have the recorder on standby. That could be potential live reaction material. But
yeah, for sure.
I will say, we were kind of talking about it on the Smackdown review. You did some quality fantasy booking where you thought, if it happens at Payback, for example,
right.
Maybe Anderson and Gallows come out, they attack Roman Reigns, AJ's taking issue with this, like, guys, what are you doing? Didn't ask you to come out here. I don't need your help. I get the more friends, but the WWE World Championship, you just cost it to me. What are you doing? And then they turn around, they attack AJ, and then Balor emerges, probably to a ridiculous pop, I'm hoping.
Well, yeah, in Chicago, yeah.
Oh my God, that's right. Oh my God, I forgot Payback was in Chicago.
Yeah, it is.
If anything, I think that only further substantiates it, because here's the thing. Say what you will about WWE, and Lord knows we have on a regular basis. I think they understand, even if they don't really care so much about the quote-unquote internet fan, they know how to play up to them, and they know how to utilize them. That's why I feel like it was smart to call up Enzo and Cass, on the post-WrestleMania Raw, because it was going to be a mix of a crowd, a lot of people that already knew NXT. If you take a Chicago crowd, I would have to assume that they know talents like Finn Balor very well, as Prince Devitt, prior to this. They will give him a raucous pop.
Oh, yeah.
And it will be huge. And you and I were even talking, and I'll give you the floor here. I mean, the first thing we'd expect Finn to do, if it goes down like this, would be a program with AJ Styles just right out of the gate.
I think so. I think you have to. I mean, I think the most logical way to go about this is and that's the great thing too, is that we know WWE isn't afraid to have friend turn on friend, even if it's like a shoot friend turning on friend. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think that you're going to I think it's going to be Anderson and Gallows are going to show up. It's going to seem like they're on AJ's side, and AJ's going to be all perplexed and wondering what they're doing and why they're doing it, even though, he never asked them to do anything. And then they're going to attack him. And it's going to be Balor showing up. It's going to turn out that he was the one pulling the strings the whole time. And we're going to get Balor versus AJ with the Bullet Club guys, Gallows and Anderson, in Balor's corner.
Dude, it's going to be insane.
Yeah.
Like, because this to me is all the confirmation we needed. And I'll tell you what else this does. Speaking on a more personal note, I am so ready to just be a fan of Finn Balor all over again. Because I never stopped liking the guy, and I have said consistently on NXT, I don't think there's anybody I respect more in WWE right now than Finn Balor when I hear his comments on NXT and everything. But I was kind of getting bored with him a little bit. Now I'm ready to just get back in all over again, because this is new. This is fresh. I feel like he exhausted possibility with his NXT title reign. Because I'll be honest, even the idea of a Shinsuke Nakamura matchup, like, yeah, it was exciting, but part of me, and maybe this is my salt, was just thinking, what, just another notch in Finn's belt? That's really all it is. But seeing him now drop the belt, I'm like, okay, Finn, you're free. Now you can do really cool stuff. You can have character development. You can grow. And I said it on our Smackdown review. I'm saying it again here. If it goes down the way that you proposed in our review, or some way similar, I think Finn may be a lock for Money in the Bank this year. I mean, stranger things have happened.
Man. I don't see. I mean, I can understand. Okay, we have a new big player on the scene. They're going to want to push him right out the gate. But I definitely am not jumping to that conclusion at all. I'm not connecting the same dots as you.
I could see these guys coming in messing shit up, starting with the WWE World Heavyweight Championship picture, in that Payback main event, AJ Roman. And then it's just off to the races. I could see Anderson and Gallows winning the tag titles, which I think you were even saying, we both kind of agreed they seem like the most suitable team to end the New Day's run, especially now that
Yeah.
New Day are baby faces.
Yeah,
So
because I'm always a big fan of when you have this fun, entertaining, really well connected with the crowd babyface team, having their fun and enjoying themselves, and they're doing well and the crowd loves them and they're even winning a bunch of matches, and then in comes these guys that are killers that take themselves seriously, and they just ruin the party and kill the fun and end the title reign. And like I've always been a huge fan of that style of title change, I guess you could say.
I agree with you. I think it has a real punctuation to it. I think the New Day deserve it. I think this is, for me, about the New Day too, getting to work with those guys. But more importantly, keeping the subject on Finn Balor and Balor Club. You have those guys win the tag titles. Finn's going to need some hardware of his own. The only things I would accept, honestly, would be either Money in the Bank or put the U.S. title on him and get the U.S. title back to some prominence. I'd be cool with either
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. And, the news keeps rolling, people. Would you like to know the latest breaking news regarding Samoa Joe as NXT champion?
Oh, don't tell me the reign's over already.
No. Guess who his first opponent's going to be at NXT TakeOver Revenge?
Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yep.
Oh my god. No one's gonna live at the end of that match with the way those two work.
Yeah.
No one.
Yeah.
Might as well call it Shinsuke's retirement matchup and Joe's as well, because who the hell wins that one? But that is gonna be amazing. And you know what? If Shinsuke's the opponent at the TakeOver special, yeah, Finn's done. Finn's graduated. He is going up to the main roster. No holding him back now.
Holy crap! This is crazy. Samoa Joe is the NXT champion, right?
Right.
Okay, so we have Samoa Joe as NXT champion. Nakamura is going to be his first challenger. Do you think Nakamura is going to beat him?
No, dude. I think Joe's going to go on his run. Because here's my thing.
But that means they would have to hand Nakamura his first loss that early in his NXT run before getting called up to the main roster.
Which I'm only okay with if your timetable of how early he's going to be leaving NXT matches up.
Oh, you know what? Never mind. It's not confirmed. It's speculation. That's just a possibility. I'm going to just say right now, knowing that it's not confirmed, I don't think that's happening. I think that the NXT TakeOver Revenge main event is going to be Joe Balor the rematch.
Well, yeah, because it would seem most apropos with a show called Revenge.
Yeah, exactly.
That people have loved. Because I can guarantee you the two big matches at Revenge are going to be Bayley Asuka 2 and Joe Balor 5000. So,
I mean, if you're looking at just NXT TV, it would be Joe Balor 3.
Right. Just NXT TV.
If you're including house shows by then, it'll be like 12.
Yeah, there you go.
But, but seriously though, I mean, apologies everyone for the Joe Nakamura, false report. But yeah, this is still, I mean, I'm really excited. I personally, I don't think Nakamura should ever get a shot at the title, because if you put him against the world champion, you have two choices. You can either put the title on him and kind of lock him into NXT for way longer than he should be, or you can have him lose, which is a really horrible thing for him to be doing to anyone in NXT.
Yeah, I'm only cool with the latter option because neither of us really see him being in NXT for very long. So what does it matter? Like, I feel like if he was in there longer,
it matters because then when he comes into the main roster, people are going to be able to say, haha, you lost to an NXT guy. How big of a deal can you possibly be?
Maybe. I don't know.
That's developmental. How can you lose to a developmental superstar?
I guess, but then again, even if he would lose to a guy like Joe or whatever, would people really have that gripe? Because it's freaking a guy like Samoa Joe.
Is Joe on the main roster?
No.
Then yes.
But it's freaking Samoa Joe.
I mean, I get that, and you get that, but people that don't watch NXT might not get that.
Oh God, I don't know. I mean, I can certainly see where you're coming from, and that's what's frustrating, is that there are people like that. But regardless, I mean, my thing is, Joe is clearly going to be staying down in NXT for I don't know how much longer. Which I'm
going to go ahead and say it, dude. It's so funny that it's working out this way. I've been predicting this since before NXT TakeOver London. I said Joe was going to be the person to beat Finn for the title. I thought it would be a lot sooner than it was, but it ended up happening. Hideo Itami is going to be the one to beat Joe.
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably right. Because, I mean, the way it's looking, that's the only guy I could really see ending Joe's title reign
Yep.
at the moment. And
And
then,
I mean, we could start the speculation again. Joe was the one that attacked Hideo and took him out of action.
yeah, which I hope WWE, remembers to make that reference because Joe's a heel, and so it works. And then that will just immediately just garner even more babyface momentum and sympathy for Hideo Itami. So it makes all the sense in the world to me. I think that's the route you go. I don't mind Joe being NXT champion. I know some people have been clamoring for him on the main roster. Honestly, part of me has, so I sympathize. Another part of me has wanted him to just keep doing his thing in NXT because I've been loving it. I don't want that to cool down, not until he's really just exhausted the run, and now that he's champion, we can kind of finish this thing out and tell a proper story. And I think with Finn, we did tell a proper story. I'm completely satisfied. I'm ready for this chapter. And even if he does work TakeOver Revenge, that doesn't render all of our prior predictions relating to Payback or, this summer on the main roster. It doesn't render a moot because he could work both. I mean, we've seen countless NXT guys do it. So I could see him crashing Payback like you originally predicted and we've just kind of built on together while still working TakeOver Revenge. I totally see that as plausible.
I think Takeover Revenge is in Japan too.
Even more appropriate because, I mean, Finn did win the NXT Championship in Japan, and then he gets the rematch, and he'll probably fall to Joe there. So, there you go.
Oh man, yeah. This is a really crazy. Like this news is just insane. It
I
might.
mean,
You know what? No, I'm looking on Wikipedia, and NXT Takeover Revenge is listed in Full Sail University. But I did hear that there was going to be a takeover in Japan this year. I'm guessing at this rate, it's probably going to be the one that would have been in London this past year. So probably the December pay-per-view is going to be in Japan.
right. Which you have to wonder, are they going to want to hang on to Shinsuke for that long?
I
Really drive up?
I know it's hard to say. Maybe they'll even do the Brooklyn spot for Japan and have Nakamura at that the day before SummerSlam.
Yeah, very well could be.
I don't know.
Uh,
I don't know. This is all speculation, but what we do know is that Samoa Joe is the freaking champion.
He is the freaking champion. He looks freaking good with it. And my big thing is, to kind of return to the central point that began this whole discussion.
Yeah.
Finn Balor's free now. Like,
I think that might. I think that is what Joe being champion makes exciting. Like Joe being champion is cool and all, and I love Samoa Joe. But what makes that whole scenario, that situation exciting, is that now Finn is coming up to the main roster, and that was a situation that we were completely disconnected from because he's been saying in these interviews how he doesn't even want to get called up to the main roster. Because I mean, from what I heard from Meltzer, he's making more than a lot of lower to mid card guys on the main roster are making, and that's despite only working in NXT.
right.
So like it makes all the sense in the world that he wouldn't want to get called up, but I guess now, I mean, if they're calling him up, giving him Bullet Club, and they're probably going to put him in a feud with AJ Styles right off the bat, I don't think he's going to be a lower to mid card guy. I think he's going to get a nice little pay raise.
This is one guy with his call up. It's funny. When you look at when a new president comes into office, everybody always makes a big stink out about their first 100 days. Well, for me, with Finn Balor, how they use him in this first year, now that he's on the main roster, I'm going to be paying very close attention to because this is a guy. I mean, the joke started with Finn Balor. Vince, if you screw this up, I will physically kill you, is the big thing. And now everybody, I think, metaphorically and literally, may be watching Vince McMahon and the writers and all those guys. How are you going to handle Finn Balor? Because if Balor Club is a thing, is a go, I think that's an excellent start. Don't get me wrong, but momentum is everything. Are they going to be able to keep that in? Because already, dude, and I know I'm really jumping the gun, but I think it's okay to do that here because you and I are excited. I'm already thinking about Balor's first WrestleMania match. Like, what's he going to do at WrestleMania? What would it be, 33 now this year?
Yeah.
Like, what's that program going to be? What's Balor Club going to do this
I'm
summer?
going to predict right away that I think his match at WrestleMania 33, he's probably going to be a part of the big multi-man mid-card title ladder match.
Probably. I don't know, because to me, I could see him doing that very easily.
Well, and another thing we've got to take into account is that there are going to be a lot of guys that are injured right now that'll be back by then. That'll push him down a little bit.
That is true. That is true. I can't wait to hear the comments on this video about where people think Finn is going to fit in the overall scheme of things. Because I go anywhere from Money in the Bank holder, and I say that with all sincerity, to really dominant U.S. title holder.
Right.
Somewhere in that range, right?
Dude, that's perfect. I mean, Kalisto is going to beat Ryback at Payback, right?
Right.
Who better to take the title off Kalisto than someone that's similar in size to him but 10 times as vicious?
That is true. That is because
because we've never seen heel Balor in WWE or under the WWE umbrella before.
We haven't.
And if he debuts with the Bullet Club, that's exactly what he's going to be. It's going to be turn via call up.
Oh my god. Because I realized, I know I even made mention of this on our SmackDown review. I was speculating, oh well, it could be Corbin, but the thing is, the only reason why Corbin doesn't work, and it's not for lack of talent or this, that, and the other. I freaking love Corbin to death. I know you do too. I'm preaching to the choir right now. Why I don't even think that's going to really be a possibility anymore. I don't really think WWE likes doing the whole, oh well, a quote unquote giant or a bigger guy, quote unquote, gets the last laugh on the smaller guy, the more resilient guy. I think Finn would make more sense for exactly the reasons you're stating. It's not like he's got this huge size or weight differential compared to Kalisto.
Dude, I want that too. You know what though? Oh god, no. They're gonna put the title on Finn, and you know who's gonna drop it to at WrestleMania 33?
John Cena.
John Cena.
Oh my god, I was kind of joking about that, but okay.
No, it might even be at SummerSlam. They might not even wait until WrestleMania to do it.
See, dude, okay, I'm gonna ask you point blank. Let's not necessarily talk about specific matches and this and that. Where do you see, and I'm not even gonna ask you to look that far in the future, just try as best as you can working with the first year of Balor. Where do you see him? Do you see him in that upper mid-card spot, that mid-card spot? Do you see him anywhere near the main event at all in his first year? I mean, where do you see Finn in the overall?
I don't see him in the main event. Definitely not in the first year, and maybe not really ever in WWE.
Really?
I mean, don't get me wrong. He's one of Triple H's guys, but maybe because of the entrance alone, his entrance alone at pay-per-views, and obviously then at WrestleMania might just get him that main event spot. But to me, he's as far as an in-ring performer goes, he's 85% of Neville, who's a mid-carder.
That is, yeah. Yeah, see,
and he's slightly better on the mic than Neville, but not significantly.
Right.
I guess I will say his look, as far as just as many women swoon over him, is about 100 times better than Neville. But still, still, that's probably enough to get him a main event spot.
I mean, look, I only ask you sincerely, right? Because I think Finn is the one NXT act, and I'm speaking solely for myself. Maybe you've had a different experience, but from the parts of, from my neck of the woods, the internet where I search and all the places I grace, Finn is the biggest fucking deal to people. I think people are expecting
and for
Finn.
Me, in recent months, people have really cooled off on Finn. I would have said that he was the biggest deal in August.
Right.
And it's been kind of just slowly trickling downwards from then.
But do you think it could oscillate back up with a debut as strong as Balor?
With a heel debut? You're damn right it will.
Because, see, I think the only reason they cooled off is kind of the reason I was kind of cooling off. It's just okay, we're still here. And really, I feel like they were kind of telling the same story with Balor, just switch the opponents out. Just a really dominant and proud NXT champion, which, again, so grateful to Finn and just so respectful and everything like that. But I love NXT, but I wanted him to do more. When we're talking about heel Balor and Balor Club, I'm that's what I want. Yes. That's what gets my blood pumping.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. I'll put it to you this way. I'll put it as this qualifier. Face Finn Balor, I would put him in that kind of Christian role. Really solid hand, maybe an upper mid-carder at times, gets the occasional world title shot, but never really does anything.
I would put him above Christian because he's got a billion times the charisma Christian had.
And I will say,
I think it's also worth noting, Vince thought Christian was an ugly SOB, and I think that the female swooning is going to prove Vince wrong, even if he does try and say that about Finn.
Right. I'll concede that grounding, but I think the point I'm trying to make is I see heel Balor having a lot more mileage than face Balor.
I'll say? I think Finn Balor is the new generation Chris Jericho.
Interesting. Well, Chris
he might be a main event heel, and I think that's something that he has in common with Jericho, because I don't think Jericho was ever a world champion at a time that he wasn't heel Jericho.
Right.
And as a baby face, he'll be a fan favorite. People are going to love him, but he'll never quite get through that upper mid card ceiling.
I think Jericho's the perfect description because, yeah, whenever I think about any Jericho babyface run, like, yeah, he maybe would win the Intercontinental title or tag titles or whatever, and he may even get world title matches, but he never actually won them. He never won the world title.
Yeah.
I could see Finn being, I think that's a perfect on the nose description because, yeah, I could see.
He's an 11-year younger Chris Jericho with a way better entrance.
There you go. Because as a face, obviously, I could see Finn doing phenomenally well, but only really in a mid card scene. Whereas heel Balor, especially with Anderson and Gallows having his back, that has to be main event worthy to me.
Yeah.
I can't. And honestly, maybe this is just my bias, but I can't conceive of it as anything else. I really can't. That's why I was already shooting for, Finn Money in the Bank. Sorry, Kevin Owens, because I was really hoping this year would be your year. And it still might be. It still might be. But if this is going to happen, how do you not make Finn Balor credit? Like, how do you not validate his arriving on the scene just by saying, yeah, this guy is different from all the others, even if you want to give him that distinction?
It's funny because my initial gut instinct with Balor is mid-carder, maybe upper mid-carder. But the more I think about it, he has the factors, the X factors necessary to be a main eventer in WWE. And the only reason I say that, first of all, he's got the look. There's no question about that. Second of all, the entrance can't be overlooked, I don't think.
No, it can't.
I mean, The Undertaker's entrance made him way bigger of a deal than he ever actually was.
Right.
The gimmick with the demon thing going on, kind of a similar thing. I think that the biggest concern I have as far as whether WWE will treat Balor properly or not is the size. Because he's like 5'10", 180 some pounds at most. He's really small. But he's still like, I mean, don't get me wrong. He's built great. He's freaking shredded. Women love him. I don't know, man. I think it's weird because there was a rumor that Conor McGregor would be coming to WWE, and he's 5'9", 160 something. So maybe, I can even feel myself getting ready to say something that everyone is going to laugh at. Maybe Vince is getting over his tall man routine, but that's not going to happen ever. You know, as long as Vince has the firm control of the reins of the company, we're never going to see a guy that isn't at least 6'1" main eventing on a consistent basis.
And see, I think you make a fair point, but this is why I retorted that it's all the more genius if he does come in as a heel and aligns himself with Anderson and Gallows. Because if you align yourself with two guys that look like Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think Carl Anderson has a better shot at being a consistent main eventer in WWE than Finn Balor.
You know what? I'm not going to touch that right now. I think there's a debate to be had there, but I'm not really looking to have that debate at the moment.
I think they're about equal in the ring. Anderson is the way better talker. Anderson is taller and bigger and looks more intimidating and is only 2 years older. So I think just from a pure looking at the traits perspective, I would bet on Carl Anderson being a consistent main eventer before I would bet on Finn being a consistent main eventer.
What it comes down to for me, and again, I think you really kind of illuminate everything, really put everything together with your Chris Jericho description. Here is a guy to me and Finn who, if he's a heel, particularly this type of heel, you know, Balor Club with Anderson and Gallows, to me could have no problem being world champion. Because when you have two guys that look like that, watching your back,
it could kind of be like the 03 Triple H reign of terror.
Exactly. Except in my mind, far more entertaining because it's Finn Balor. But yeah, that guy I could see being world champion, and I think that's why I was so gun-ho, just so immediately like, this is what they're doing. Maybe I'm wrong. Wouldn't be the first time, but I just don't see how that kind of conception of Finn Balor, how that portrayal of Finn Balor isn't main event bound.
What if the Balor Club is sort of the new pet project of the Authority?
We haven't heard from them in a while. I
did even suggest during our discussion about the Balor Club, and well, specifically we called them the Bullet Club then because we didn't really know for sure if it was Balor, because the question was who's in control of these guys, who's, you know, pulling the strings. What if it's Finn, but also even above Finn on the pyramid, the Authority? What if the Authority is kind of giving these guys encouragement to do what they're doing. I mean, the Authority hates the Usos. The Authority hates Roman Reigns. That all makes all the sense in the world. Triple H could use his relationship with Finn Balor because that's like their best buds backstage. Like Triple H sees Finn Balor as the new Triple H. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
They could use that in storyline to say, we had this great team. They were a wrecking ball, and then we needed a leader, and we called Finn up to do that. And then that could lead to potentially WrestleMania 33, Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins.
And I was just getting ready to say, and I'm glad you punctuated with that, if you're right, and this is an authority-driven thing, then I now know two things. One, I agreed with you, and we kind of hashed out a little bit in our SmackDown review. Finn Balor and AJ needs to be like the first program that Finn has. But as far as another program that would be an imperative, certainly Finn Balor and Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
Because when that man comes back, and I'm referring to Seth Rollins now, that babyface pop is going to be ridiculous. I check in on that man's Twitter periodically. Last I checked, last time he tweeted something was back in December. Like, he's staying quiet everywhere because I think he wants people to forget about him as best as they can so that he can really get the biggest pop possible. And when he does, the first thing he'll be looking at is, hey, I was the future, I was the guy. And ultimately, he's just going to get disgusted with the Authority, but in a way that'll keep up his babyface momentum. So Rollins is out, Balor is in, and hell, if it's an Authority-driven thing, why not kind of mirror Seth Rollins' rise? Because the first thing Seth Rollins did when he aligned with the Authority was win Money in the Bank, because he knew if he had them in his pocket, it'd be a sure thing. Do the same to Balor. You can wait a whole year kayfabe-wise before you do anything. You could do something good by then. If you choose not to, you could just sick him on AJ and anybody else that's bothering you. Maybe they don't like face Bray Wyatt now, and you do Finn Balor and Balor Club and the Wyatt family. You've got
or if they stick with face Bray, they could do Bray versus Finn.
Yeah, exactly. I think yeah.
Dude, Balor Club versus Wyatt family. Why would you stick them together when you can put them against each other?
Well, yeah, that's what I said. Like, you could stick them.
I thought you said if they didn't like face Bray though.
No, I said if they didn't like face Bray, they could sick Balor and Balor Club just on the Wyatt family and take care of them.
Oh, you're referring to the Authority. I thought you were talking about the bookers. I was confused.
No, I'm going with your whole thing that this is authority driven. Yeah, right. I haven't gotten off that talking point yet.
Sorry, I thought you meant you could stick those two teams together and make like this giant like faction of.
No, I meant you could say because you did that whole big blog post about the Wyatt family's connection to the Authority. Well, Bray quite literally socked Triple H in the face at Royal Rumble the first chance he got, severed that connection permanently. The Authority may not take kindly to that. Be like, hey, Finn and Anderson Gallows, take care of this. I mean, I kind of want it now to be an Authority-driven thing. Maybe they are the divine. It was me, AJ. It was me all along, because I think it opens up so many possibilities now.
And like that's the thing too, is like Bullet Club are going after Roman. That's like, who is the Authority's wanted number one most wanted guy dead or alive? It's Roman Reigns, because he took the title off Triple H at WrestleMania, right?
Yeah.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, I get excited about the alliance because you said a few minutes ago that Finn, or Triple H rather, sees Finn as the next Triple H and just has like such a high opinion of him. I could see Triple H cutting a promo because I remember one of his WrestleMania promos, that whole buildup was, I need to be WWE champion. I want to be WWE champion. And Roman Reigns, a guy like that being world champion makes me sick. He could kind of speak of Balor in the same like glorifying light. Like, here was a guy in NXT. He wanted to be NXT champion. He was proud of NXT. And that is a company guy, that drive, that greed for power and this and that. And he could just say, I needed that on the main roster because I will not tolerate Roman Reigns being world champion. They could do something magical. Well, I mean, look, there's no turning around the Roman Reigns momentum. You're either going to have to deal with it or do something about it. And I think WWE is committed to dealing with it because that's the lazier course of action. So do whatever the fuck you want with Balor Club and the Authority because it's not going to make a damn bit of difference for Roman Reigns. So you might as well just really make this the biggest possible thing. And I think they could create magic together. I mean, you saying that
Dude,
now.
oh
Yeah.
my God. Do you know what else they could do?
What's that?
I'm adding a little something to my initial fantasy booking where we
Okay.
have Balor Club come out, attack Roman, then turn on AJ, attack him, and then Balor comes out.
Right.
Balor hits the coup de grace on both Roman and AJ, and then grabs the title and holds it up.
That would be amazing.
Extreme Rules triple threat.
Oh my God.
In a steel cage to keep the rest of the club out. I'm not joking, to keep the Bullet Club out.
Hey, that's fine with me. Because when you have a man's like official main roster debut match,
How does
before the
Roman
world title,
retain? Seth Rollins returns.
well, maybe. I mean, if he, because he does, haven't I heard that like he was healthy, far ahead of schedule, and I don't know if he'd be.
I'm hearing, what I've heard is that he'll be back in May, which is when both Payback and Extreme Rules take place.
Right. Interesting.
Extreme Rules is literally 2 weeks after Payback.
That's crazy to think about.
We have a Raw and then the go home and then the show.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so it's, good luck building that up, guys.
Yeah, really. Which probably means I don't know how eventful of a pay-per-view Payback is going to be because a lot of that fallout will probably translate into the Extreme Rules card. But
if only WrestleMania had something actually happen at it.
I know, right? But I mean, hey man, what a way to debut Balor. I mean, first with the beatdown and then your first official match for the world title. Like, that makes you know, because I've said it, I think, on the first episode, it's been my my card-carrying line. You are what you're booked. And when you see a guy like Finn Balor already competing for the heavyweight championship of the world, that lets people know, my God, this guy is hot shit.
Dude,
Who the fuck is this?
Could you even freaking imagine, too, like, Balor would not come out as the demon at Payback. He would just come out with the Balor Club, gear on with the leather jacket and everything like that. He would double stomp both Roman and AJ. He would grab the title and hold it up. That would be kind of the last image we see. And then we would get a triple threat cage match between Roman, AJ, and Finn for the title at Extreme Rules. And that is the debut of the Demon.
That would be incredible.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly too, like I would tweak your beatdown just a little bit for me because obviously I don't think either one of us would see Finn winning the gold, and we've been saying like a Finn AJ program. I would love to see like AJ kind of crawling over to Finn and kind of looking all around him like, what's happened? Why are my friends doing this to me? Whatever. And then maybe Finn hits Bloody Sunday, and then he grabs the championship. So he does a little bit more of a beatdown to AJ than to Roman.
That I like, because Roman could just be laid out, and Finn can, and Finn can hit him with the coup de grace, and then like you said, AJ is kind of crawling over to him. And it looks like he's helping him up, but then he kicks him in the gut, hooks his arms, and hits the old Bloody Sunday. I love that.
Yeah, and then he holds up to that because then you know that he's got a little bit more of animosity towards AJ, and then you can go right into that AJ Balor program when Balor fails to win the title.
And I think my favorite part, imagery-wise, too, when he double stomps Roman, you could have Anderson and Gallows holding Roman by the hands and feet.
Yeah.
So even if Roman is like conscious and aware of what's going on, he can't get out of getting coup de grace.
Oh my God. I've got goosebumps. Balor Club 4 life, except for AJ Styles. Quite literally, actually, because you got the shit beat out of you.
Yeah.
Dude.
Oh my God. I wonder if they would get custom theme music too. Well, I guess we're going to find out on Monday, aren't we? Because Anderson and Gallows are facing the Usos. So I guess they'll probably get a theme song by then.
Yeah, I'm actually intrigued now to hear what that theme's going to be like.
I know, and I imagine Finn would still, when he comes out for title matches by himself, he'd probably still come out to his demon music.
Right. And yet when it's a Balor Club matchup, maybe they'll get their own custom theme. I don't know.
Oh, man. So, guys, this is insanely exciting. I'm not even joking when I say we've been recording for almost 40 minutes, if not over 40 minutes, guys. So This commentary actually went longer, I believe, than our SmackDown review, which is really funny because our SmackDown review actually had some of this discussion in it. So, do you have any kind of closing thoughts? Any other points that you want to talk about, John,
Uh,
regarding Samoa Joe winning the title and Finn Balor being on the way to being called up?
I mean, just very succinctly, congratulations again to Samoa Joe, my favorite heel in NXT right now, one of my favorite heels in general in WWE. Glad to see him have his run. And other than that, I am so ready for Balor Club after this discussion. See, I was about to say Bullet Club because I'm so used to it, but I'm so ready for Balor Club. Just bring it on.
All right, guys, it's been a good time, lots of fun. Be sure to leave us some comments on your thoughts. I guess, it's a little late at this point because of all the speculation we've done, but it's also probably worth noting that there are still 2 dates left on the the NXT tour that's going on right now, so they could be like, just kidding, and put the title right back on Finn. But regardless, we're going forward under the assumption that Samoa Joe is the champion and Finn is getting called up on either Monday, Payback, or the Monday after Payback. And with that being said, be sure to leave comments. We want to know what you guys think. Like this video, subscribe if you haven't. I promise we're going to be your new favorite wrestling podcast. Check out the Twitwow Facebook page. Check out Pwitoff on Facebook. It is PWITOF. Or if that doesn't work in your search bar, Pro Wrestling is taking over Facebook. It's just a wrestling group that John and I belong to. We like to get social on there. We talk to people quite a bit. Also, as far as being social goes, check out our Twitter pages. John is very active on Twitter. He will reply to everyone that sends him a tweet. And his Twitter handle is at John_Twitwow. You know how to spell Twitwow. It's in the title of every single one of these videos. John's first name is John, not just Jon. And then, of course, on my Twitter, I will be consistently, I've been doing this for a really long time now, on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and also the Twitwow subreddit. I make sure to share every single time we upload a video. So if your YouTube subscription box is on the fritz and it's not telling you about that sweet, sweet Twitwow content, follow me on Twitter as well, at apond404. That's A, the letter POND 404 on Twitter, and you will see every single thing that I upload. Also, subscribe to the Twitwow subreddit. You know how to spell it. And we will see you guys for our Monday Night Raw review, where we'll see, first of all, if Anderson and Gallows are going to get theme music. Second of all, if they do, how good it is. And third of all, just how badly they are going to destroy Roman's cousins.